The number one piece of business advice I have for you: hire the most autistic person you know. I'm talking that that goes non-verbal in groups larger than 3. Weaponized autism is literal alchemy for econ money in the trenches. You wanna go viral? You wanna print money online? You wanna literally control the internet? I'm dead serious here. I know it sounds like a joke, but hear me out on this strategy. It's built my entire career. The world isn't shaped by CEOs. It's shaped by obsessed internet savants who spend 18 hours a day reverse engineering algorithms that you're scrolling mindlessly. These people just understand this digital world better. Trump, he used weaponized autism to win the election with Cambridge Analytica. Even guys like Drake, you look at like Zach Bia, Twitter bots. Like, a lot of this stuff that dictates popular culture and what we see is often mastermind behind the scenes. Even me, just to keep it 1,000% with you, some people on my team, I've been called the autism whisperer. I'm not gonna lie. Get the magic out of the talent. Like, some of these stories I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. This isn't about just hiring smart people. This is about harnessing an unstoppable force. Let me explain what I mean. So most people hire marketers based off like vibes. You see all these marketing agencies out there, right? They're very professional. They know how to put together good shit, all right? Like, it looks aesthetically pleasing. The problem is that stuff is always too late. I have always been an effective person. I seek effective marketing. What works? That's why I've stood out in this new TikTok era. But the people that understand what actually works, the people that understand algorithms, human psychology, all of this stuff, they're wired just a bit different, for real. Me, I need a killer, someone who thinks in numbers, patterns, not feelings, right? They understand the feeling component and then they know how to manipulate that. So if you look at the growth of Rob the Bank on Instagram over the past year, several of my highest performing videos came after I hired this gentleman. You see, might not be out there publicly, but he largely shaped the entire business niche as we know it on Instagram. From the threads people see to the brain rot B-roll content. He was the mastermind that saw the effectiveness behind this style. And while he might struggle in more advanced social situations, I realized something that most people look through. Actually cool. And he's got a lot of cool ideas and he knows how to impact the world in a broader way. Now, as we got to work, I saw things and appreciated a view that I never would have come up with. One of my most consistent viral videos and viral hooks is about marketing to insecurities. The video itself might go a totally different direction and talk about building a brand on TikTok Shop, but he masterminded that idea of marketing to insecurities, fused in a celebrity. Kanye West got rich marketing to insecurities. All of a sudden, it's crazy viral. Here's the problem with the world and people in general. Most people would look off. Most people would not take him seriously, might treat him like a kid, might not see the greatness there. See, what a lot of people failed to realize too, just wanted to be noticed, respected, appreciated as one of the GOATs in his craft. You see, he often starts with going through people's content and really ripping it to shreds. He knows the shit. And now me, I guess maybe it's an age thing, just where I'm at in life, I'm humble enough to know what I don't know, right? But you think about it from another young kid perspective, like, this kid's telling you how much your content sucks and why this video isn't going well, da-da-da-da-da. Right? It's very off-putting, there's a clash, he gets disregarded. And that's just not right, period. I realized the second he started going through my IG content that I wasn't dealing with a good marketer, I was dealing with an absolute fucking weapon, a nuke. And when you have those, you turn over control, all right? You let them do their thing, you let them cook. Great things are often built through a team. You go back to the Drake analogy again. So many people behind Drake make him go, right? Bad Bunny, similar deal. So many people make these faces of the world go. Autism. All right, so I want to break this down a little bit. Why do weaponized autists dominate the internet? It's pretty simple, honestly. They do 3 things better than pretty much everyone else. There's a pattern recognition component. They don't just see trends, they see what's happening before and they see the direction things are often going. There's a unstoppable and often obsessive level of focus where they are obsessively refining in on one component of what's actually working. I kid you not, with you hand him half an Adderall, an espresso martini, he will not communicate to the outside world and he will just go absolute savant, Rain Man, on his phone with whatever he thinks is gonna work. I've seen him write Twitter threads like an actual demon out of hell. The third thing that makes them great is absolutely zero emotional attachment. They're not looking at like what's cool or what's like, they don't care anything about those agencies that make cool, pretty content, right? They care about what's effective. There's no emotional component in the actual analysis. So you think about a platform like TikTok, you think about a platform like Instagram, these algorithms that literally run the world. They are like the machine elves that help shape, influence, and dictate where the world's going. If you stop hiring based on personality and you start hiring based on raw, weaponized autism and skill, you will win. But now you're probably wondering, where do I find these people, right? And it's actually pretty hard. Like I said, I'm a little off, so I was in these places. You got like 4chan, deep in the trenches of 4chan, deep inside of Discord servers, niche Twitter communities, right? Freelance sites. They're out there. Sometimes they're in your own personal life, your own personal circle. The problem is the skill sets are often hyper-specific, and people do realize how valuable they are. When you do find one though, or you think you found one, don't ask them about their portfolio, right? Wakes up at noon, barely out of bed, barely a functioning adult. Ask them how they would break down your business and rebuild it better. If you get an answer that sounds like ChatGPT just riffed some absolute gold, you found yourself a money printer. Look, most people hire for vibes, for community. That's why they're losing. The ones who win, they hire those that have that obsession, that special gift. And then that becomes the culture. All right, we different out here. We different out here in Puerto Rico, Rob the Bank HQ. And that's how it's gonna be. And that's the effectiveness. And you see it in winning circles. They're like Peter Thiel or Donald Trump, right? It is what it is. 2025 and on forward as the internet continues to gain steam, weaponized autism dominates. Peep IG for more. We're running it up this year nonstop.